Welcome to Sidebar Speaker Series. This is one of those sessions where we've opened up the Sidebar community for non-members. So I'm really excited to see a lot of familiar faces, but also new ones. Sidebar is a comprehensive growth platform. It started off as a peer group for senior executives, and the motivation behind that was as you grow in your career, it starts to get lonely and you can't really discuss with your team. So you have a peer group that's going through the same things or have navigated the same challenges. And so we come together to learn from each other and get support. And I've been a Sidebar founding member for 2 years, and it's been absolutely transformational for me. I'm Sue Belagodu. I am a product executive, and at my current role, I broke up with that part of my career, as Pooja and Elizabeth said. I currently help startups go from 0 to 2 mil ARR using AI across the board, product strategy, and growth mostly. I co founded a company early in the AI wave and quickly realized building products is going to become easier, but selling them, oh my God, was that a big challenge? So now I help other founders navigate the same. Today, as you all know, and you're here for the lady of the moment, Puja Bharwani. Pooja is the co-founder of Wisely. She's a communications expert and strategist. She has a fantastic career, but I'll have Pooja do her own introduction because who better than her to describe what she's done? Pooja, welcome to Sidebar, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you, Sue, for that lovely introduction and also for inviting me to do this series, which is very timely. So I'm dialing in from Singapore. I live between mainly in Singapore, but I come to the US a fair bit. I started my career as a television journalist. Very curious by nature, love traveling and telling stories. I then moved into brand consulting, ran my own consultancy, mainly worked with founders and tech startups, and then was got a chance to work with Antler VC, headed marketing for the region, was one of the earliest employees. I'm sure most of you have heard of Antler now because they're global, and then ended up getting back into the founder seat. I joined one of Antler portfolio companies. I met my co-founder there and decided to start Wisely. So that's where I'm at right now, and as a founder, wearing many hats. Now, I would like you to ask questions as I go through this presentation. I've tried to make it not as wordy and give you like proper frameworks and stuff that you can actually apply. And we are really living in interesting times right now where your humanity and how you position is going to end up being the most important thing to make you stand out. So I'm going to share my screen now and start the session. So where do I, why do I use the word wisdom? And wisdom also stems from wisely. So to do things, with your innate human wisdom. It's an intentional phrase because we are in a world where AI can generate in minutes what used to take hours. But it cannot replicate the depth of your experience, your discernment, and the way you uniquely make sense of the world. So, in an era where intent is becoming louder, more crowded, and more automated, where the internet, sorry, not intent, your human clarity becomes your competitive advantage. There's going to be four things that you're going to take away from today: a simple framework to define your brand. We're going to try and show you how you can position yourself in under 30 words because honestly, the simpler the better, and it is hard to be simple. We'll build a credibility stack that you can use both online and offline. And of course, AI twin, it's a big term now. People are building their twins to scale. You'll get a sneak peek at what that actually means. And, we're really here to uncover your voice. There is, as we know, we're drowning in data, but this statistic really got to me. 90% of online data next year is going to be largely AI generated, We all use it, obviously. I've used it as well, but we cannot have it take over the thinking. With declining attention, you really, really need to be serious about finding your own voice and starting from scratch in a lot of ways. So this is something that, I think we should ask ourselves. The solution is not becoming a content creator and creating more content. The solution is to be clear about what it is you're offering. So the first thing we do, we look at positioning, right? Positioning is not your job title. It's not your role or industry or task you're good at. Your positioning is the lens through which you see the world. And that insight can only come from you, because other people are going to rely on what is it that you see in the world. And that's why you got to ask yourself, what is it that your view gives that anchors everything that follows? The positioning foundation, okay, there are 4 pieces to this puzzle that I think look really simple, but it does require a bit of questioning, right? So your unique perspective is your lived experiences, your failures. Trust me, they really, really make a difference. The career transitions, the odd parts, the stuff that you need to talk about nowadays is the stuff that made you odd as a kid, that people, maybe your teacher told you about, or the fact that you moved around a lot, whether it's moved around countries, moved around schools. You will have a unique perspective in the way you see the world because of all these experiences. Of course, your target audience's pain point. Your brand and you exist to solve something real, and that's what you need to get very clear and human about, whether you're a B2B offering or a B2C. This is something that always comes up. It's like, oh, how do I market differently? Actually, you don't. And if you see this, even AI companies are now marketing and positioning very, very human and basic. If to take the example of the Chat GPT ad that was about a young couple and a guy finding a recipe, and that was just so basic, right? I mean, that's what he was using for this. So you need to create a solution bridge where your insight meets the need of your audience and your customer. And what is it that you help them do, understand, or in some cases, what do you help them become? And that's what we call a solution bridge and your connected strategy. So and the 4 of these need to align really, really well, to in a way make the offering so magnetic and like, okay, obviously I need to work with this person because this is all comes together. Only this person can offer this kind of expertise. So how do you build the foundation? Now, these unique perspective and these are prompts you have to ask yourself without an LLM. So a lot of people come in thinking, asking like, oh, do I use AI to generate ideas? Do I use it as a thought partner? At what point do I use it? So I've done both, and I have to create like tons of content, not just as a marketer, but as a founder. As I'm trying to also start my own pillar of content and thought leadership. It came to a point where I just felt like it's diluting my thought, and sometimes you just need to go back and go on a plain slate and start writing your ideas, because writing is thinking, and you need to ask yourself without looking at all this noisy stuff online, reading too much sometimes, and then really crafting and finding your own voice. So these are prompts that I've put to ask yourself, and I ideally do it in a quiet place. If you can journal, even better, but on a blank Google Doc. What specific problem, if solved, would dramatically improve the situation of your audience? And of course, that's how you build your sorry, your solution bridge. And what transformation can you create from this? Because it's about finding the thread, and that is something that you can only look inwards to find in your experiences. Now, let's go to the value proposition in less than 30 words. So I've started here. This is myself. Um, and the bridge I've created is creating well-researched targeted communication strategies for brands and leaders that drive real business outcomes. Now, it sounds really simple, and it took me a while to realize this was my strength, because when I used to talk to people, I used to never really bring up the fact that I was a journalist up front, because I was like, oh, they're going to think that I'm you know I've that's not, I'm not an expert in marketing or storytelling. So and I realized that was actually what gave me credibility, because it was a global news brand, and it also has made me who I am, because I approach things in a very human way. Story way. I ask questions like a journalist. I I double check, triple check facts. Every time I write something, I need data. And I bring in that news element, right? Is this a current trend? I mean, till today, I'll wake up and I have to read news publications first. So that's what I realized, was that is actually my USP, and I should use it. And inherently, I still have that journalistic outlook. So that's why my unique perspective is that I'm a former journalist who can identify good data backed stories and turn complex into digestible, understandable language. So um, that's another thing that not many people, I realized, can do, right? Take it that, like they say, whether you call it the mom test or try to explain it to a 5-year old. So that's what is where you get your unique perspective based on your previous experiences. And then what is your unique framework or approach, right? So the way I do it, I have created like specific questions, and then I contextualize. Everything is about personalization now. You can't just have generic, you can have your basic framework and playbook, but what a customer or brand is looking for nowadays is extreme personalization, and that can only come with your hat on. AI can give you the bigger picture, and then you have to be like, no, you have to be the dot connector. So I did this for this brand and it worked, but it might not really work here. I might need to move this here, or like look at this in a slightly different way. Now, I'd like to pause for a second here and ask if anyone would like to. Oh, is someone saying that it's really soft? You guys can't hear me?
Well, I can hear you clearly, but I think there are a couple of them who are saying that
Okay, let me
they're
move my. Is it better now? Is it a bit better now?
Nicole and Gary. Just give us a thumbs up.
A
Okay.
bit. Okay. All right.
Okay.
I'll try to speak a bit louder. Okay. So, if would anybody like to give it a shot, and try their 30-word um, bridge that they want to create? We can start with maybe raise your hand. We can just do it. We can converse and do it in a more interactive way, if that's easier. This is something that.
Ramsey, I
Okay,
think.
perfect. Ramsey, is
I'll
it?
come
Do
on
you want
camera. I'll give it a shot.
Awesome.
So the
that be
bridge,
great?
the bridge, your unique perspective and your approach. Is
Yes,
that
go for it.
the exercise?
Yes.
Um, Driving business innovation and clear market value proposition products and experiences for disruptional business experiences in the market. Sorry, that was a little jumbled. Do you look like you were going to say
Driving.
something?
No, no, I'm just driving innovation strategies for business. Say that again. See, there was a
Yeah,
little pause
sorry.
in
It
there.
was obviously not very well practiced. I said driving unique and user value driven products and experiences for differentiate companies within the marketplace with using AI strategies. I don't know where to put in that because it's more like an operational piece than the like final result.
Yeah. So the driving unique user value is the what,
Mhm.
and then the
For
for companies.
differentiated products and experiences.
experiences. And you use AI, or you work with AI
Yeah, I'm
companies?
a UX researcher and strategist who uses AI.
UX research.
So that part wasn't even really mentioned, but it's sort of the outcome
Okay. And do you
for
work
video.
with any specific size of companies or?
I mean, I'm open. At this point, I'm really open. But in the past, it's been more enterprise SaaS
Okay. Okay.
companies. But
So,
at this moment, I'm kind of bridging out and maybe freelancing with smaller companies.
and what gives you a unique perspective to this in your background?
Well, as a former therapist, and now 10-year UX researcher and strategist who's been designing unique products and operational systems for Fortune 500s. I have a vast wealth of experience from quantitative and qualitative mixed methods research that's from human-centered design perspective and design thinking workshops to
So
drive
I,
those outcomes.
so I think human-centered would probably be the key word for me here in what you
Hmm.
should put in your one-liner. So
Hmm.
driving human-centered user value to differentiate products and experiences
Hmm.
for early stage to Fortune 500 companies. So
Yeah.
I would still niche on the type size of company because I feel um, that is really important. Not that people who haven't done 0 to 1 can't do bigger, but I think that because there is so much going on, it's easier to just hone in on a size of company. And when you're saying, and yes, you can use the word AI. There's always like, um, I think that in certain situations it's understood you're using AI, so
Hmm.
there's not really a need. But I would double down on the human-led approach, because that is kind of like what makes you different and gives you that
Hmm.
special edge. So
Thank you.
thank you. Um, Great. Anyone else?
Pooja, could you go to the previous slide so folks can look at the prompt again?
Yeah.
And then, guys, we'll share the summary of this with everyone with Pooja's framework post the call. So
Yeah,
if you don't get
you'll
to
get a
it,
summary cheat sheet that you can use as your blueprint. We've got Leandro.
Yeah, I can go.
Go for it.
Yeah. So just I see that some people asking, can you re-ask the question so that both I have it clear and other people as well?
Yeah. So, what truth do I see that others miss, and why? What specific problem, if solved, would dramatically improve their situation? So, the transformational aspect, and the specific outcome you deliver through your unique lens.
Cool. So hi everybody, Leandro Margulis. I'm a product leader at the intersection between business and product, exploring roles in Series B to the startups, product leadership roles in Series B to the startup at the intersection between business and product and go to market. I'm a former consultant as well, and I worked in a variety of different startups in different stages of growth. What that gives me is a unique view that I can be very strategic, from my consulting background, and have very intellectually stimulating conversations and leverage frameworks. But also, I'm an engineer, I'm a builder, so I do stuff hands-on. And one of the things that I've done that I'm proud of that deliver value is, like, I worked at a company, for example, that had a bunch of the product is great, but the product manifested itself as a bunch of APIs that each customer has to stitch together in the right order with the right parameters for the thing to work, which means every customer was reinventing the wheel. And from close deal to revenue recognition, it took more than a year, right? And then when I looked at that, I'm like, we already know the best practices.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we just do this for our customers? So I created the hosted version of the product,
Mm-hmm.
and it decreased implementation time by 80%, which
Mm-hmm.
meant it increased revenue recognition by double-digit millions within the year. So
Wow.
everybody, both the CRO was very happy, accounting and finance was very happy,
Mm-hmm.
and I had to do a lot of change management because the product now is different. It's not a back end, it's a front end. So a lot of culture change from back end engineers to front end, and also the work of the implementation manager changed. So it was a very interesting experience. So that's the kind of value that I can bring to companies.
Yeah, so I think your strong suit is speed and revenue increase, which are the two biggest outcomes that companies look for. So you need to condense that and your skill set of combining business as well as engineering should be also, that I kind of give both right brain, left brain, or however you want to put the fact that you can, you're art and science in a way. You can do business, and your outcome is basically implementation and at speed and revenue increase, which is great. And then what specific problem you gave the fact that you gave that example, but again would need to be condensed a little bit
Got it.
because
Thank you,
of the
Pooja.
30 words. Thank you. We've got a couple people who shared. So we've got Elizabeth, who said, helping high achieving leaders break up with the identity that keeps recreating their problems so they can step into the version as of themselves capable of leading the life they actually want. Okay, that's deep. But that addresses what you are doing for people. What about you? You'll need to add why you're the best person to help them do it. Naveen has said, creating talent solutions for new age companies who aspire to win in the marketplace by understanding their employees' playbook and offering insights into fine tune it. That's also very detailed and specific. Thank you for sharing. And Tanjina has said, inflection point catalyst for women founders and senior leaders using human-centered design and creative play to help you regain clarity and momentum without burnout, starting over, or putting your dreams on hold. Thank you so much. We've got Samir, developing and executing strategic frameworks by starting with the end in mind, aligning stakeholders, and prioritizing focus areas. As a former entrepreneur that helped companies develop digital roadmaps, I have worked both as an operator and consultant. Awesome. Thank you so much all for sharing. Let's go on to the next one. So how do you build your credibility stack? This basically means layering evidence. Building an authentic human voice requires trust. That is basically now the fundamental thing that is going to make you stand out online from everything else and everyone else. And this is made up of experience and the results you've had. So when you're talking about what you've done in the past, you need to show success, obviously, right? I've increased revenue. I've built this from scratch. I've transformed, this person's life. And then knowledge and insights is basically your expertise and your skill set, but also how you contextualize in the insights you are getting based on that knowledge and your experience. Social proof and recognition, of course, whether it's, you've got accolades or awards, and also some of you, would have stuff online that you have written and been commended for, and consistent value delivery. And the reason I put that as the biggest thing now is because you need to show up and be there, because if you're not consistent, whether it's in even a small form of content or reporting on something that happened, whether it's an event or something like that, basically you people forget about you. So that mind share needs to be there in some way or another, and you need to build systems and that can follow that are not, that you don't end up feeling like a full-time content creator while doing it. So that's one of the reasons that that people you need to go into their voice, so that when they share content online or they talk about what they do, it's something a bit more natural versus not everybody has the ability to create a Substack and write every week, right? So that's why you need to look at these four things. They're important, they need to work together, but consistency of value, and also in terms of when you talk about things, are you teaching your audience? Are you educating them with something new? Are they, it's, or is it just sometimes people just talk about, oh, I achieved this and I achieved that, and also like just taking third party content and then just rejigging it. That doesn't add that much value. So
Pooja, sorry, on
yeah.
that slide, I think when we were talking about this, can you kind of highlight how to stand out now because there's so much AI generated content online? Is it okay to be using it but still keep your authentic voice, or what are
Yeah.
you seeing
So I
and
think
what can add more
so I
credibility?
think I think one of the things that the way to stand out is you have to show and not tell. So don't be like, oh, I've if you say that I'm like an AI expert and I use all these tools for UX or for product strategy. Don't be like, okay, this company released this tool, and then copy something and say like, okay, this is what happened. Talk about how you used it. How did it affect your work? Where is the use case in how you are implementing it? Not just there's here's a new list of tools that's come out. This is what's supposed to do. Put it into your actual workflow, because one of the biggest things right now in AI is the adoption, right? So this year was supposed to be the year of the agents. I mean, I would love to know how many of you are actually using agents and how many agents you have. So the prediction was the average professional in tech will have hundreds of agents, but I think I have basically 4 working for me. They're very specific, but I'm saying that whole aspect, even within organizations, 90% of organizations that implemented agentic have seen nothing because people don't know how to do it. So your job to stand out would be like, this is how I do my work. So it's a way of building in public, but in a slightly nuanced way. So because you don't want to talk about like every little thing, right? People don't have time. It's like, what is it? Because the current way of doing things has changed so much. The state of work has changed so much. Your experience going through this and reinventing yourself itself is original. For me, it's the way I try to stand out is every story is every piece I write starts with a story and an experience. So that's what inspires you. So you also need to see what naturally inspires you. Like when you're, have you noticed something at an event? Do you say, do you gravitate towards talking about a certain theme? So all these things make your content or your experiences very relevant to you, but at the same time also to people in your industry, because they're going to be like, oh, okay, this makes sense. I can relate to this, and relatability is at the end of the day, what is the most, which is the most important thing. I'm going to go into why this relatability factor and being smaller and less follower count is like the new trend. That's the other big thing that's actually happening right now. So I'm sure everyone knows who this lady is. If anybody doesn't, I'll tell you in a bit. So she's Mira Marathi, who's like known as the godmother of AI, and she was previously with OpenAI, and then she left and started her own company and got a $2 billion investment before launching a product. No revenue, no product, and the only way, the only reason she got it was because of the belief and trust in her, right? And yes, this is a more than a unicorn situation. It's far and few in between. But my point is, I'm seeing this everywhere. Okay, like it's not just you don't have to be like that high. That trust factor of your reputation and the fact that you're a person of credible expertise, and you've had a good track record and you work hard, that does make a difference. Another big trend that is happening, where I say people believe in people, I had a old colleague who was very senior in GTM with tech, and he was happily in his current big tech job, got poached by another scaling startup to join, and he wanted to. They approached him, mind you, but the caveat was we need you to do a trial and work with our team just to see if it gels, and without payment. So this is, and this is the second person who's told me that people are doing this now. Companies are doing this now. So it's again, it's about the people. And this is someone who has an amazing, stellar track record. They still want to, but all they wanted to do was culture. So that's the other thing you should talk about when you want to stand out. The way you work. What is it that people are going to remember about you when they work with you? Ask with your current teams, with your current projects that you do. There, I know there's a good mix of operators, fractionals here. What is distinct about working with you? What is your style? Is it something that that you can replicate and be known for? Because that is what's going to make you get your next project. What is going to make you stand out as a person? It can be something really small, because when I was running my agency, I used to only meet people in certain cafes, and they used to be like, she'll always pick the place with the best coffee, because I am a coffee lover. So it can be something as simple as that. So keep in mind, these are ways. This is culture, and this is the way you communicate and work. This was something that really, it was a New Yorker article that came out, and how low follower count is the new thing. It doesn't mean just because you have a low follower count online that you don't cut it, because that means that you are niche. There is trust. Trust is the new flex, as I said, because people want smaller communities. We're moving away from the influencer era right now. Engagement is down. Bots are everywhere. Half of the audiences of major platforms are inactive. People don't want scale. They want sincerity. They want small, credible, human-led communities. And this is, in a way, this puts experts and leaders. That's why I say this is the time, in a way, for the real expert to emerge, because you don't have to be because creating is becoming easier, or just sharing your thoughts, but you don't need to then suddenly become like a knowledge creator, right? You just need to intentionally post and be a bit different and share your expertise in a unique way. Do you feel like the fact that seeing I just want to know, seeing dropping engagement and micro over macro, how many of you feel relieved seeing this? AI agents. Okay, cool. I just feel like, I think because I see so many experts feel pressured to start that newsletter or that Substack for the sake of it. I just want to say that that's not the only solution. It's great, but don't overdo it. And also consistency. So like, be realistic. If you can only do once a month, do once a month. So like, this is how we go into the consistency system, right? So why is it that, how can you implement this? How do you show up consistently without feeling that you hired yourself as a full-time content creator? So there are 3 pillars to this, okay? Your voice guide and your tone. So for you to sound, actually this, it goes into answering the question Sue asked earlier, right? How do you stand out? It's your voice. It's to sound human and avoid the AI flattening your voice. You need your stories. You need your stories, your metaphors, your way of reasoning, your examples, references, personal frameworks, all that stuff, right? And in a way, you can just do a data brain dump on a doc and then obviously ask AI to help you organize it. That's the beauty of it, right? But the prompt obviously has to be like, do not change the content. And I think one of the best prompts that I've used that works is, I'll tell GPT, this sucks. Can you please make it sound like me and more human? Because I have uploaded so much stuff. So Manju's asking, what is the alternative mechanism or platform? I mean, people are saying Substack is the alternative, right? It's where you kind of have no algorithm, so to speak. It's purely based on followers. So that's why a lot of people are flocking to Substack. And what I'm also beginning to see is people are double posting. So they'll put the longer version on Substack and then they'll announce it on LinkedIn because their base, following is there. LinkedIn is just, I don't know, gone crazy with this video first. Now video has stopped. Now they're putting posts from like weeks ago. So I can't keep track. I honestly can't keep track of what's going on with it. I think what's worked is targeted reach outs, as well as, again, being consistent for me, and I've seen this with others as well, just having a very distinct voice and expertise that you're talking about, so that people know that this person is the authority on this. So that's how you kind of create a distinct voice. This is a question that I get asked a lot. Content themes and topics. Do I go into one niche, or I do so many things. I do business, I do product, I do GTM. What should I write about? Yes, I know it can be overwhelming, and because you want to write about things that you're interested in, and it can get boring just writing about one topic sometimes, and also like how can I make this diverse? But the bottom line is, if you want to be known as the person or the leader in your industry, it is better to focus on one topic and pick it. Now, how you headline it and then core, that's your core expertise, and then you write around it is a different thing. Like for me, I picked the AI versus AI plus human element, right? How AI is affecting different aspects of our life. So I talk about how it affects education, how it affects work, how it affects the way we communicate, the way we interact. Because for me, it just makes sense. I'm a founder of a company, co-founder of a company, but it also is very story-led. So I get to talk about, and as a parent of 3, I have a lot of comments and about education. So sometimes you also need to write about what you're passionate about and what you're living through, because life is multi-dimensional. So what if you're a product strategist for, scaling startups? You still wear other hats. Health is another big thing. So one of my most viral posts that kind of came out of nowhere was about leadership. When Jacinda Ardern resigned, I talked about I literally did not spend more than 10 minutes writing it, because I admire her. But I talked about how self-awareness is the biggest trait a leader can have, because she resigned and she knew when to leave. And I had people from like really big CEOs reshare my post. I had 50,000 impressions. I didn't know what had just happened. I was like, and then I got messages of people sending me like, oh, we're doing a panel on leadership. Can you speak on it? And I'm like, how did this happen? So my point is, you talk about what you're passionate about, people that's how the authenticity comes out. So if you have, if you are passionate about neurodivergence, if you are passionate about climate change, all that stuff, it's all linked. You still are a professional expert in whatever it is you do, but it's relevant. So the one I wrote on, also one of my most most well shared articles, was about ChatGPT being the third person in my marriage. So it was you, me, and GPT. So things like that, right? I mean, it needs to be fun. It needs to be relatable, because it cannot be so dry. But it's still super relevant to the human plus AI theme. So identify your core expertise, and you definitely do have recurring themes, but contextualize them into different baskets so that your writing becomes interesting. And also, do some live reporting, like when you're at a conference, or you're at a panel or at an event, like what is it that you're noticing about people? What are they asking? And especially now with intergenerational stuff, it's very interesting how Gen Z and the younger generation is generally approaching work and AI. So that itself is such a great viewpoint from a different demographic. So those are the kind of things that I feel are so interesting to read, and makes you more relatable. And then AI and scaling is essentially about distribution, because if your content you know, doesn't go to the right places and the right platforms at the end of the day, if that's your intent. But if there are some people are quite happy just writing. They're like, I'm just doing this because it's my thing. I'm not that driven to scale to that extent. That's also fine. But it's like AI can help you distribute. So whether you choose it in a platform or I'll show you the tools I use for distribution and all the schedules I have. But it really depends on your objective. You just need to have something predictable. You need to have something that's, that you can actually meet. The tools I used Gamma I just started using that to make this presentation. I'm very impressed with it. I have to say, when it started 2 years ago, I was like, this is so not what this is. There's nothing to this, but it's really, now they even have voice. Of course, I use Wisely to, I'm not doing a product demo today, but it is basically a platform where people can search and find answers of experts. So that's that, and experts monetize, when their answers appear. ChatGPT, Otter AI has actually been the biggest time saver for me, because now they've added, you can question the meeting as well, so you can interact. So a lot of my interesting insights that happen after a meeting, or if I'm creating something, happen through, I'll just take the Otter transcript and I'll be like, do a proper prompt. And Claude for longer form is very good. Of course, I mentioned I have ChatGPT agents. That's more to identify trends and see what's actually happening in the world, what content is out there that's working. And Midjourney I love. Sometimes it's a bit wacky, but overall pretty cool. And of course, Google Nano Banana. Perplexity I used to use. I just feel that now ChatGPT has gotten better, because you can get the web command as well. And that's kind of where I that's why I honestly haven't used it. I use it sometimes, Perplexity, more for personal stuff to search. So that's my tools that I use. So, it's already 1:45.
I was going to say, we have like 14 minutes. What do you think is the best use of that? But this is something you've been meaning to talk about, right? Like the action plan and how to go
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah,
Um,
so once you've found your actual voice, your expertise, your positioning, um, it's you need to start actually drafting stuff. And I'm not saying that everyone needs to create content regularly, but writing is thinking. So definitely do it, and attempt writing at least something, like whether it's an experience, it's your view in your industry on what it is that you're doing, the changes that you're seeing. And for those who want to do more, obviously do more. And that whole, I put there, we're approaching the end of the year. It's a good time to kind of just start thinking about it, and then start in Jan and talking about, if you want to really take this seriously, to have a distribution schedule, try using one or two AI tools, implement basic distribution automation, and see what is the impact. You need to also ask yourself, what is your goal of this? Is it lead gen? Is it just building yourself as a thought leader in your industry? And then that is exactly what you will identify your next steps. Robin, I think the main thing that helped me was, so if you start a newsletter on LinkedIn, or you start a newsletter on Substack, they will ask you frequency. And the moment you put that, you're accountable, because you're like, you can put weekly, bi-weekly, monthly. That's it. That's what keeps me accountable. I have an internal newsletter that has to go out weekly. I have my LinkedIn newsletter that is bi-weekly. Once you commit, you have to do it. And it's not like I kill myself. There have been times when I haven't, I'm slightly over the 2 weeks. But the point is, it's better than, not doing it. And that's kind of where, that's how it works. Okay. Nice.
Pooja,
Somebody's, yeah.
sorry, given that we have like about 10, 11 minutes ish.
Yeah, we should. Yeah.
Can we do the AI twin
Yeah.
overview? I
Okay.
think that would
Okay,
be
sure. I'll just go
yeah.
into, um, what is an AI twin? Okay. So, an AI twin is your human voice scaled intelligently. Um, it's not a bot, okay? So, it's not going to give you these shallow one line, it's not your customer service bot. It is trained on the data that you put in, so it does not take from anywhere else. It's not an LLM. You choose what you put in. There is a whole strategy around building your twin. Basically, what is it for? Do you want it to actually be your second brain and have people subscribe to it and ask questions and then charge them for it, which can be done on Wisely. Some people just use it for a FAQ. As in, like, I'm so tired of answering questions about what is it I do and what my services are. Talk to my twin. So that, that's the new digital thing. And there was actually a point of conversation. At what point do I introduce my twin without sounding rude? So AI twins help by scaling your expertise, amplifying your reach. So they're available. So we have experts on Wisely that now consult globally because, the twin never sleeps. And then you still maintain your frameworks, so you can put in your PDFs. You can, you charge for that for them to download. And then, of course, the repetitive, boring work. So you can create a twin of you. You can also create a body of what we call interactive, we call them collections. So it's like your methodology that people can, again, pay for, to buy and interact with. Why is the AI element in all these bodies of knowledge is that it's interactive. So people ask questions, answer, and so the contextual knowledge of what they want from your body of knowledge is just easier to access. So that's the difference between having a twin and not. So yes, I think we can open to questions. This is yeah, you will get anyway the slides, the links. You can ask me whatever. You can be in touch. You can start your stuff on Wisely. But if anybody wants to ask questions, please go ahead.
And Pooja, while you do that, I'm going to pull up the survey for Sidebar. We really want to know what you guys thought of this session. Pooja is up in the middle of the night presenting this to us from Singapore. So thank you. Kudos to you for not just staying awake, but you were fully present. And thank you so much for doing this. But let me take a moment. I'll have the survey up, but folks, please feel free to ask questions. But do take a minute to answer the survey. Any questions for Pooja today? Right.
Great. I gave a lot of information, I guess, so it's all clear.
Or they were waiting. Yeah, so Pooja, tell us about how an AI twin helps with building your brand. I think it's pretty obvious, but I'd love to hear an example of how someone who's
Yeah,
done that
sure.
has done it successfully.
So the one example I gave you, the use case was a product leadership coach. She's based in California and used it basically to scale. But she's put tons of content on it. So she managed to get now clients in Europe, and it's easier for her because she also creates sub twins. So that's specific knowledge for that client. So once I'm working with
Oh,
you,
nice.
I'll put the knowledge in, and then you can talk to them because we work async in a way. It also helps you scale that way. We had one of our he's from Japan, so he's a GTM specialist for companies from the US and Israel who want to enter Japan. As you know, it's a very unique market. So he built his twin with us so that he could communicate with the outside world. And then we're adding the Japanese translation especially for him. We are eventually going to do all languages because we realize that's the other big
Fantastic.
thing for
Yeah.
cross-cultural communication and this global system. So he really benefited and managed to get access because it was so simple. Like he said, now I'm, the whole world understands what I do,
Yeah.
and I just have to. Otherwise, it was a really cumbersome process. And we also have a career strategist who basically now is offering his AI twin and embedding, because you can do an API as well. So he's embedding it into like a university so that the students can get access to his basically his how do you start a LinkedIn profile as a college undergraduate, those kind of
Yeah.
things. So that's his twin. Um, so there are various ways, and like I said, it really depends on the objective. The point is that
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you create and control. You subscribe for people subscribe for conversation. So we have someone who's just using it for they've uploaded their book because they're like, my book is sitting there, but I want to spread the knowledge and contextualize the information to people. And she's like, the best way that that's happened is through the twin, because at least the questions get answered.
Yeah. I can see how that can be super helpful. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you,
You're welcome.
everybody, for attending this. I hope you have a lot of takeaways. I loved that. I think Wick put up that he already used the framework to define his LinkedIn bio using your framework.
Awesome.
Pooja, that's amazing that they were able to use
So
it.
quick. I love it.
I know. We will follow up this with Pooja's email summary and framework and links for you to sign up for Wisely if you're looking to do so. I know I am going to after this. So thank you, everybody. Have a
Thanks,
wonderful
Sue.
day, and
Thanks,
thank you,
everyone.
Pooja.
Super interactive audience. Thank you so much. Bye bye.